Do you like bears? I love them. I'm not kidding. I love North American black bears. And a lot of the Appalachian Trail goes through black bear habitat. I've observed wild black bears many times in the United States and Canada, and I'm not particularly afraid of them. I feel like I know them, and I can assure you they are big fluffy babies. Even so, they can be full of surprises. Once on the AT, a black bear surprised me so bad I about jumped out of my skin. And black bears could also show up where they're not wanted. So we are going to talk about what can happen when we run into wild bears on the AT or anywhere else, and strategies for close encounters with bears. I have seen bears on the Appalachian Trail, and on one section hike I saw 6 of them. This is the only photo I ever shot of a bear on the AT, because usually they disappear so fast you won't get a photo or video unless you have the camera in your hand already. Virtually every time, a bear will leave fast if he sees you or if he knows you saw him. The earlier video and photo were taken in Yellowstone National Park. Here's another video from Yellowstone. This one is a grizzly enjoying some tasty plants. Grizzlies are not as docile as black bears, and no wild grizzlies are found anywhere near the AT. But this video brings up an important point. When bears, even grizzlies, have enough to eat, they are happy and have no interest in going out of their way to mess with humans. If bears are hungry, they might visit places where they are not wanted. Notice the grizzly's back has a hump at its front shoulders. Black bears have no such hump, and this is one of the easiest ways to tell the two apart. Also, the largest grizzly is much larger than the largest black bear, but both types come, of course, in all sizes. It is true, a hiker could walk the entire Appalachian Trail and not see a single black bear. In areas with a load of bears, there might be 1 or 1.5 bears per square mile. Compare that to white-tailed deer, which can exceed 10 per square mile in some areas. This means that a place with a lot of bears really doesn't have that many bears. You are far more likely to see lots of deer on the AT. For 6 or 7 months, black bears hibernate. So from roughly October to May, odds of seeing one are at about 0. 2 places on the Appalachian Trail with high-density bear populations are the Great Smoky Mountain National Park and the Shenandoah National Park. In the Smokies, in June 2015, a bear pulled a teenage boy from his hammock at night, and the boy's dad drove the bear away. Park officials at the time said wild berries had not yet appeared, so bears weren't staying near their food sources. The Shenandoah National Park is not very big, but it has been estimated to have 1.5 bears per square mile. And that is where I had my biggest ever bear surprise. I was hiking along and a bear was in a tree right next to the trail. I didn't know he was there, and I was about 8 yards away from the tree when the bear slid down the trunk like a fireman on a pole, peeling off a shower of leaves and branches on the way down. I had never seen such behavior, and I backed up mighty fast. He was a small bear about a year old, and he took off running when he hit the ground. Later, I walked past another spot on the trail where green leaves and broken branches were on the ground. For some reason, these emergency getaways were common among Shenandoah bears. And as if that wasn't enough, a couple of days later, yet another bear did the exact same thing again right in front of me. This time I understood the game, so I just stood there. Elsewhere, twice I got close to bears that climbed a tree before I knew they were around. When this happens, they breathe hard and loud when they climb, and it sounds like the wings of a giant bird flapping right over your head, sort of like whoo, whoo, whoo. So if you ever hear that noise, check the trees and you might see one. Also in the Shenandoah National Park, I once had a bear right outside my tarp tent one morning at daybreak. He was sniffing around, and if the tent wall hadn't been there, he would have been breathing in my ear. The advice is to let the bear know you are a human, and some people are inclined to say something like, "Hey bear, hey bear." However, I vote for being more assertive. I snapped, "Beat it!" loudly, like I was pissed off, and when the bear heard that, he froze in his tracks. The heavy breathing and the shuffling feet stopped instantly. He waited a couple of seconds and slinked off. Before we discuss various bear deterrents, we have to play devil's advocate and issue a disclaimer. Aside from being shut up in a building or a vehicle, no strategy is guaranteed to be effective in deterring a mean bear. Even a powerful firearm would be of dubious help if a bear grabs you by the head when you're asleep in your hammock. I have read that pepper spray is only 75% effective on bears. I have read that during a test of bear bells, a grizzly had fun playing with the bells and listening to the pretty noises they made. The father and son in the Smokies had secured their food where a bear could not reach it. None of this means we should not use methods to deter bears, because most of the time they do work. I carried a big can of bear spray in the Shenandoah National Park, but I never touched it when a bear was around. It's basically pepper spray that will shoot a long distance. My thinking was that if I needed it, it would be the situation when a bear would wander into my camp and refuse to leave, or if one bluff charged me. A bluff charge is when a bear runs toward you for a short distance, trying to scare you. I believe a bluff charge would achieve that goal, but I've never experienced one. When a bear does that, he wants you to go away. Based on what anecdotal evidence I have, a bluff charge is more likely to happen in remote areas where people aren't very common, areas like Alaska or the western U.S. and Canada. I have never heard of a bluff charge in the heavily populated eastern United States. If you shoot pepper spray at a bear, I suggest making sure the wind is at your back so you don't end up breathing the stuff. Another lighter option is something like Fox 5.3, which is similar to the pepper spray used by police. All pepper sprays have an expiration date. Before throwing the container away, we're supposed to figure out a way to shoot all the pepper spray out, which is why I still have my expired pepper sprays. One method of scaring off a bear that can work is to stand up, raise your hands high, and yell loud. In the National Geographic reality TV show, Ultimate Survival Alaska, a guy stopped a charging grizzly by doing that, and it was impressive to see. Another option is to wear a bear bell. If you have ever seen a real sleigh bell, a bear bell is about that big and they are loud. The idea is the constant ringing as you walk will scare away any bear that hears it. For those who don't know, we need to make sure no trace of food is on the ground at our campsite at night. It might attract a bear, or mice, or even a raccoon or skunk. AT shelters in the Shenandoah National Park are called huts, and most, if not all of them, have metal bear poles like this. We carry our food in a sack and hang it on the pole. At the least, anywhere on the AT, I always hang my food bag in a tree. I tie a carabiner to a line, toss the line over a branch, and pull the bag up. This bag is probably hanging closer to the tent than it should, so I screwed up this day. At some shelters along the AT, you will find what is called a bear box. They're for storing food overnight. Out west, sometimes where trees are not too close together, it's often common to use a bear canister. A bear canister is basically a container that will hold your food, yet the bear cannot figure out how to open the canister. Female bears are famous for defending their cubs, but not all black bears will do this. Black bears have been known to abandon their cubs under pressure from people, and we can assume they soon return after people leave. Other black bear moms will stand there and glare at you and refuse to run. If you see one of those, trying to walk right past her could be a big mistake. Once in Canada, I happened on a small bear in a tree by itself, and I moved on as quickly and quietly as I could. For the sake of the bear cubs, I say we should keep our distance, never try to get close to them, and move on as quickly as we can if we stumble onto one. In the description, I have put a link to a video of a black bear following joggers in Alberta, Canada. It's hard to imagine a bear encounter more nerve-wracking than the one shown in this video. I believe the bear was watching for an opportunity to move in and take a bite. This is a bear that deserves a face full of pepper spray at the least. Probably we have all heard that statistically speaking, a bee sting is more likely to kill you than a black bear. I think most of us are more worried about getting mauled. Sharks don't usually kill people, they just take off a bite or two. Yellowstone has both grizzlies and black bears, and in Yellowstone, they will warn you flat out that a bear might get you. They also warn you about getting gored by a bison or falling into a hot spring. Yellowstone can be dangerous. For those who don't know, the only grizzlies in the lower 48 are in Yellowstone and in part of Montana. They used to be common west of the Mississippi, but because grizzlies can't behave themselves, they were exterminated in most of those areas. The average black bear is far smarter than that. 99.9% of the time, all we have to do is keep our distance. This brings us to the old recommendation that if attacked, we should play dead with a grizzly and fight a black bear. Some experts recommend fighting the grizzly also. Speaking for myself, I would fight a black bear if attacked. Not because I have any chance of kicking his ass, because I don't. Instead, I say that because black bears have a tendency of being unsure of themselves and a willingness to change their minds. Had those joggers in Canada been followed by a full-blown carnivorous predator, that predator would have moved in at full speed with no hesitation at all. The black bear instead was acting as if he couldn't completely make up his mind, and I doubt that he could. This recommendation about fighting back with a black bear, of course, comes with no guarantee. On the other hand, if one of them has its teeth in you, what else are you going to do? And I will be talking about other animals along the Appalachian Trail in another video. And that is it. We're done. If you have not subscribed, please do so. It would be much appreciated. And as always, thanks for watching.